Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tennessee Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admission Officers Virtual College Fair. Thank you so much for joining us. We are really excited you are here. Before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items to note. First, if you have any questions at all, feel free to use the Q&A button to type in your questions to the presenters at any time. They are there, ready and available to answer your questions. Your camera and microphone are off. You are muted and your video is off. The panelists can't see or hear you. There are more sessions. Feel free to sign up for more college presentations being offered at the same place where you registered for this one. And lastly, all sessions are being recorded and will be available a week from today at strivescan.com/Tennessee. We are currently in session B4, where my mouse is circling at the moment. And this will also be the same order of presentations. So without further ado, I'll get out of the way and introduce our first presenter from Illinois Wesleyan University.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Andrew Starnes, and I am the Regional Admission Rep for Illinois Wesleyan University. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening, and definitely always look forward to connect with students from the state of Tennessee. I'm actually based regionally in the state on the eastern part of the state, so definitely enjoy getting to work with students from the state and the southern region of the United States. So we'll talk quickly here about how Illinois Wesleyan has been able to achieve some awesome stats, including top 10 in the nation for job placement. And also, we were recently named the Hidden Gem College of the Midwest. So we'll dive on in. IWU is a deeply rich and rooted liberal arts university. We're located in Bloomington, Illinois, about 2.5 hours south of Chicago. We've got about 1,700 undergrads, and we are an undergraduate university only. So there aren't any grad students at our school. Get small classroom sizes. You're not going to see this. You're not going to see the large stadium style auditorium lecture hall settings. You're going to get a lot less lecture and definitely more discussion. Really maximize the value of your education. Get your questions answered in person by your faculty. Have great conversation with your peers. Just make sure that you're getting the full college experience across the board. And since we are an undergrad only institution, if you're wanting to take advantage of opportunities to get to grad school with research, we do have graduate level research for our undergrads with our own faculty members. Typically about 25% of students are involved with that on any given time throughout a semester. So great way to broaden the horizon there. Illinois Wesleyan is made up of 3 main colleges. We do have our School of Nursing, almost 2 decades of 100% job placement. We have our College of Fine Arts. I do get a ton of applicants for our School of Theater Arts. School of Music has been super popular as well. Just a lot of renowned programs and an amazing art school as well too. So we've got your fine arts covered with the deep liberal arts route. And then of course our main college of liberal arts contains the majority of our major and minors, all 80 different major minor combinations, everything from political science to physics, pre-engineering, pre-med, neuroscience. We have so many different tracks and pretty much a pathway for everyone through our school or ultimately into a grad school as well. Now at IWU, we do take a lot of pride in diversity. We do have our Office of Diversity and Inclusion, ODI as it's referred to on campus. We do take a lot of pride in trying to continue to grow in diversity. Right now, about 1/3 of our students on campus are students of color, and our last 2 out of our 3 classes were the most diverse in history. We do so many different things, from special pre-orientation programs to graduation services, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to really give our students a great voice no matter who they are. And then of course, got our interfaith background with our chaplain on campus, and then even of first gen students were almost 30% in the last class. So no matter who you are or your background, we want you to feel like you have a place and a voice on our campus. Speaking of the campus life, we do have over 120 different student-run organizations, big and small. So we do resemble a lot of the larger universities in terms of the access of resources and campus life. We've got our main Greek life, sororities and fraternities on campus, theatrical productions, concerts, you name it. It's just a great way to make sure that you find your own niche. And honestly, many times students will leave with several different areas that they've been able to get involved in. With our athletics, we are D3 NCAA, member of the CCIW. So we do have 24 different varsity sports. We do take a lot of pride in a lot of winning, a lot of success across the board. Our men's basketball team just won the conference championship a few weeks ago, so we're still excited about that, and just really are just blown away by all the accomplishments of our student athletes and the fact that our campus culture is so that all students really come out and support our student athletes in some capacity or another. We do have esports as well, so students are getting a chance to get recruited for gaming, which is pretty awesome too. So one thing I always tell everybody is don't be intimidated by a small private school on cost. Even though we are a private school, over 95% of our students are going to receive some form of financial aid, merit scholarship based on GPA and scores. So our averages last year were a 3.75 GPA, 26 ACT, 12.10 SAT. So if you're at that range or higher, not only are you going to be in great shape for admittance, but of course, getting on one of our top end scholarship opportunities. And whatever you do get, of course, it will be renewable. That's another big thing there. We will use your FAFSA to complete your financial aid proposal. We are test optional for our seniors right now. So for any students who are going the test optional route, we are still offering them paths for full acceptance and scholarship consideration. So for the next steps for our juniors now, the application will go live in August. So we are on the Common App as well. Both applications are free to apply, so there is no fee. We keep the process very simple, starting with the free app and submitting transcripts and other required items, and it will get you to review very quickly. We are doing campus visits in person safely throughout the spring and summer, and virtual events as well throughout this year. So there's a lot of ways to connect. That would be my best advice for you to do that on this front. And then, of course, my main contact information is up in the top left. Like I said, I do live in Tennessee, do work with students from the South. So if there's anything I could do to help you in the process, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And we do hope to see you visit the campus soon. Thanks again for tuning in this evening, and enjoy your evening and the rest of the schools.
Thank you. The next representative is from Columbia College, Chicago.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alfredo. I work here in the admissions department of Columbia College, Chicago. I do work exclusively with students coming from the Tennessee region. A little bit about the college before I get started. Columbia is a four-year private liberal arts college located, as you can guess, in Chicago, Illinois. A little bit about the college, if you're someone who really flourishes in creative environments, really likes to be surrounded by other students like yourselves, this might be a really great place to get started. So when it comes to numbers, we have this past year, our student body was a little over 6,500 students. A majority of those students are going to be undergraduate degree seeking students, just like you, looking to get some sort of bachelor's degree. We do have a relatively small graduate student body as well. This past year, we did enroll a little over 1,700 new students. That's going to be a combination of freshmen and transfer students. We are also very transfer friendly. So if it doesn't work out enrolling here as a freshman, you can always enroll at another college and start off here as a transfer student at another time. We do have over 60 different majors and programs. That's going to be a combination of majors, minors, online certificates, and graduate degrees. And then when it comes to our residence halls, about 71% of incoming freshmen do live on campus. For two reasons I like to stress, the first being location. You get to live in Chicago, downtown Chicago, as a college student. And then the second one is access. So at some point, whether you get an internship or a job here, a lot of those opportunities exist in the downtown area anyway. So location and access, it's a great combination. When it comes to diversity, about 49% of students identify as students of color, and about a third of our student body identifies within the LGBTQIA spectrum. So this is a big part of our identity here at Columbia, especially as a college that focuses in the creative arts, diversity and inclusion, and making sure that regardless of whatever identity you have or walks of life you come from or life experience you have, that you have a platform to share your stories. And then for the average high school GPA for an incoming freshman, it's usually a 3.34. We are also test optional. So if you are not a great test taker, maybe you had difficulty accessing a testing location this past year, don't feel obligated to submit any of those should you not want to. When it comes to financial aid, there are 3 opportunities to earn a scholarship from the college. The first one is completing an application with an official transcript on file, submitting a FAFSA, and then the third would be submitting a portfolio or an audition. So for BA seeking students, it's completely optional, but it does help. And then for BFA or BMUS applicants, a portfolio is required as part of your application. So 99% of freshmen earn some kind of financial aid from us, and then 97% of transfer students earn some kind of financial aid from us as well. When it comes to the learning environment, we do call ourselves a hands-on immersion in your fields from year 1. So what does that mean? Some colleges around the US might make you focus on your liberal arts requirements your first 2 years, and then your major related classes your last 2 years. At Columbia, we don't have that. We let you jump into whatever classes you want as soon as you start. So if you want to jump into musical theater or film or public relations, your first semester, first year, day 1, feel free to do that. You have that autonomy to do so. When it comes to class sizes, it's usually about 15 to 18 students per class. This creates a great opportunity for you not to only connect and network with your classmates, but also create rapport and networking opportunities with your instructors, because we do ensure that faculty, they do live what they teach. When it comes to our programs, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a little over 60 different majors to pick from. Just a very general overview of what we have here. We have audio communication and writing, media arts, performing arts, and visual arts and business. At some point as well, we do sprinkle in some electives. So maybe while you're here to study dance or fashion, we do make sure that you are engaging in your other interests as well. Something really unique to Columbia that we started a couple years ago, we have something called the Columbia Experience. We start you off your first semester with a class called Big Chicago that exposes you to different communities, in industries around the city, because we definitely emphasize that Chicago will be a background character in your life, your 4 years here. And we want to make sure that by the time you graduate, you know exactly what kind of job opportunities and industries look like. So that way you're not navigating it too blindly by the time you graduate. So we have classes like creative communities and innovation and impact that build off of that first year experience as well. As I mentioned, we are a liberal arts college, so you still have to take your liberal arts requirements. So classes like math, science, history, English, all that fun stuff, you'll still have to take that to get a degree from us as well. When it comes to our student body, we do have over 70 different clubs and organizations. Whatever you can think of, it probably exists already. So things like, Black Student Union, Latino Alliance, Asian Student Organization, all those clubs are a great way to make new friends, meet new people. We do have a fencing team, a Quidditch team, intramural sports. And if a club doesn't exist, you can make your own. We do have over hundreds of different campus events a year. We do have residence centers designed for creative students. So in one of our residence halls, actually, we do have a floor that's completely vacant, painted white, and you can paint the walls with whatever you want. As long as you exert your creative energy, that's really what we want. So that's about it from me. Again, my name is Alfredo. You can shoot me an email or give me a call there. And whenever you're ready, you can complete an application at colum.edu/apply. So thank you so much for having us here, and I'll hand it back to Catherine.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Just a friendly reminder that if you have any questions at all, to feel free to submit those through the Q&A. Our representatives are here and excited to answer your questions, so feel free to submit those. If you have a specific question, to also include the school name. The next representative is from Southern Illinois University.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tom. I'm an admissions coordinator from Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, Illinois. Carbondale is right at the very southern tip of Illinois, so we're about 3 hours from Memphis, 3 hours from Nashville, about 5 hours from Chicago. So right on the edge of the border there. So we are among the top 5% of all higher education research institutions in the United States. But that's pretty unique because as a freshman, you have the opportunity to do research in the labs that we have your first year here. We have about 10,000 undergraduate students. Even though we have about 10,000 students, our class sizes are relatively small with an average of about 13:1 student to faculty ratio. So the professors will actually, they'll get to know you while you're studying here at SIU. Our housing is pretty cool. This year and going into next year, every student will end up getting their own dorm room, which is exciting at no extra charge, which worked out really well for COVID. We have the biggest dorm rooms in the state of Illinois. That comes with cable, heat, air conditioning, all that fun stuff. We have an anytime meal plan, which is as long as the dining halls are open, you can go eat. It's buffet style, eat as much as you want. It's a nice, good value deal. We are a Division I school. We are in the Missouri Valley Conference. We just added women's soccer, so this is our first year playing with that. Our football team is still playing their spring. Our fall got moved to spring, so they're playing right now. We're trying to get into the playoffs, and we'll hopefully know that in a couple weeks if we made it or not, and who we're going to be playing. So it's an exciting time. We have over 300 registered student organizations, Greek life, academic, intramural sports, the Flying Salukis, tons of stuff to do, tons of ways to get involved on campus. We encourage all our students to get involved. And if we don't have the one thing you want, we encourage you to start it because we want students to be involved here at SIU. One of my favorite things about SIU is that you get in-state tuition. You do not have to pay any out-of-state fees or anything like that. And 90% of our students receive some sort of financial aid. So we are a public school, and then you get in-state tuition being from Tennessee, so you don't have to worry about any of that. This is our average estimated budget for fall 2021 too, and it sounds like fall 2022 as well. So tuition is about $10,000, fees about $5,000, and room and board is about another $10,000. So a grand total of $25,000 for the year. However, we do have scholarship opportunities that are based on your GPA. So as long as you have at least a 2.75 unweighted GPA, you are going to get a scholarship from us. We are test optional. We do not require any test scores. So we are just looking at your GPA. So if you get like a 3.8 or higher, you automatically get our University Excellence, which is $7,500 a year, as long as you're admitted by November 30th. And you can get to compete for our Chancellor Scholarship. And what that is a full ride. It'll cover everything. It is competitive. There's an interview process for that and some other extra steps you have to do. But like I said, it covers everything. So it's a good deal. So like I said, 2.75 GPA, you're going to get a scholarship from us. We are joining the Common App this year. We are still accepting applications for fall 2021. And for fall 2022, that'll open up around June. You can apply on our website or through the Common App. Send in your high school transcript. We have about a $40 application fee. And then you don't have to send test scores. That's totally optional. It can only help you. It cannot hurt you. So that's kind of how we do that. We're also on social media. If you want to get in contact with us, we're on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. So give us a follow. We're open for campus visits right now, and we're going to go through the summer. So if you want to come see us, schedule a visit right on our website. We also have a virtual open house coming up in July. So if you don't want to make the trip and you just want to see us online, definitely visit that. But if you have any other questions, hit me up in the chat and I'll get back to you. Thanks.
Very helpful information. Thank you. The next representative is from Millikin University.
Hi, thank you so much. All right, my name is Lauren Bartel, and I am a senior regional admission counselor at Millikin University, and I also am a Millikin grad. I actually graduated in 2018 and started working in our admission office after that, so had the experience both as a student and as an admission counselor. Just to give you a little bit more about where Millikin is located, we're located in Decatur, Illinois. It's about as central Illinois as you can get, right there where that blue pin is on the map. Our town and surrounding area has about 75,000 residents, and we have a very positive relationship with our community. A lot of the community members attend our students' athletic events, their fine arts events, and are really encouraging when our students are looking for internships and jobs, whether that being in college or after college. So it's a good positive environment for our students to be in. And that top right picture is a picture of downtown Decatur, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. We've been getting some top 10 recognition in the past few years. One of the most notable ones, I think, is that we were the #3 best college in Illinois to land you a job. So as important as it is that you enjoy your time at school, you want to know that you're set up for success on the back end as well. So we were ranked #3 in Illinois to hopefully help you get a job after graduation. Just to give you the basic rundown, we have around 2,000 students at Millikin. We have only about 100 graduate students on our campus, so the majority of those students are going to be traditional undergraduate students. So your professors get to know you super well, and their attention is focused on you, not necessarily a bunch of graduate students. We have over 50 academic programs and over 90 student organizations. We have 23 men and women's Division III sports. We are also in the CCIW for sports like Illinois Wesleyan. And we do have that 99.4% graduate success rate. So that means 99% of our graduates were gaining employment within 6 months of graduation. So that just feeds into knowing that you will be set up for success on the back end. Our 2019-2020 tuition is also the same as our 2020-2021 tuition. We were able to do a tuition freeze for this year. So that was looking at $36,000, but every student that's admitted to Millikin does get a merit scholarship that ranges from $14,000 to $22,000. So don't let that private school tuition scare you away. We do have a lot of scholarship opportunities, and we do take the FAFSA into account as well. And then finally, our student to faculty ratio is about 10-1, with the average class size being about 16. You'll never be in a big lecture hall. You'll get to know your professors and the classmates in your major really well. It's a very close-knit community, and your professors will know you by name and want to see you succeed and get to know you as a person, maybe rather than a number in a lecture hall. Millikin is broken up into 4 colleges and schools. So the College of Arts and Sciences are most of your basic school subjects, you know, those liberal arts subjects. We have math, that's science, psychology, English, history, all of those traditional school subjects are housed under the College of Arts and Sciences. Our College of Fine Arts is one of the things we are most well known for. About 30% of our students are in our College of Fine Arts. So that is theater, music, and art combined. And then the College of Professional Studies is all of those degrees that you need a professional degree for. So education, nursing, athletic training, all of that is housed under the College of Professional Studies. And then as the name states, the Tabor School of Business is our business school. We have 8 different business majors to pick from. And while your major will be housed under one of these colleges, we do have that well-rounded liberal arts education. So you will be able to take classes from any of the different colleges and schools and will actually be required to. We really want you to have the opportunity to explore any areas that are interesting to you, whether that be through maybe an additional minor or even just classes that sound interesting. You'll have the freedom to take whatever you want to explore more. Campus life is very vibrant at Millikin. Like I mentioned before, we have over 90 student organizations. Greek life is a big part of our campus life. We have about 30% of our students involved in Greek life, and then athletics as well. About 40% of our student body is in athletics. As I mentioned before, we're Division III for athletics with 23 men and women's Division III sports. We also have fine arts and performance groups, cultural groups, religious groups, lots of ways to get involved. And the typical Millikin student is very involved. You will be hard pressed to find a student that just goes from their residence hall to their dorm or to their classes and back every day. Most of our students are involved in a variety of different extracurriculars, and it's a great way to meet students outside of your major, outside of your grade, and just feel more connected across campus. We have a lot of study abroad opportunities. That is something that we really encourage our students to take advantage of. We have over 53 partner universities in over 22 countries. We do have a lot of those traditional semester-long study abroad opportunities if that's what you're looking for, but we also have smaller travel immersion courses as well. Those take place for a week or 2 over winter break or a week or 2 in the summer. Just gives you that travel experience and the ability to get class credit for it without having to be gone for a whole semester. So whatever opportunity opportunity fits best with your schedule and the things you're involved in on campus, we have a Center for International Education that is there to work with you through that. And finally, we have both an application on our website as well as we are a part of the Common App. Either way that you apply, there is no application fee and no essay required. We will need a minimum of your high school transcripts, and we have also moved to being test optional. So you do not have to submit your test scores if you don't want to. And with that, definitely feel free to put any questions you have for me in the chat.
Thank you. Just another reminder, as everyone has stated, that if you have any questions at all, feel free to submit those through the Q&A. Everyone is here and available to answer your questions. Our last representative, but certainly not least, is from Lake Forest College.
Wonderful. Thank you, Catherine. Hold on just one moment. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Franklin Gaglione. I'm an Associate Director of Admission here at Lake Forest College, and we'll spend the next 6 minutes talking about Lake Forest a little bit. So for those that may not be too familiar with us just yet, we are a residential liberal arts college of just right around 1,600 students that is 30 miles north of downtown Chicago. So I love talking about our very sort of pleasant, sort of idyllic residential community that is, right near one of the largest metros in the country. So lots of best of both worlds potential in terms of our location. Our student body is really diverse from a lot of different perspectives, but for now we'll talk about it's an over half student body from outside of Illinois. So my Tennesseans here today, I'm a Tennessee native myself. You will not be alone journeying up from another part of the country to the college. A couple other things that we really highlight are affordability with up to $30,000 a year in merit scholarship and a very high career placement rate of about 97% within 6 months of graduation. So to kind of break things down into 4 big points today, we're going to talk about the academic experience, career preparation, Chicago, and diversity are 4 ways that I think really make Lake Forest unique and suit this type of a format for the college really well. So in terms of our academic approach, we are in many ways on paper similar to a lot of liberal arts colleges. So for students who are looking for a smaller, more personalized academic experience where they really will get to know their professors and build relationships, you will absolutely have that in any of our 50 academic programs that we have on campus. And to clarify, we are just a college, so we have no graduate programs. We're purely focused on undergraduate learning and development. What makes Lake Forest unique is our more pragmatic approach to the liberal arts. So within the context of all these benefits of being in a smaller environment, you're not in any way sort of sacrificing quality in terms of internships, research, study abroad, opportunities. Lake Forest students on average do at least 2 internships during their time there, and about 20% of our students will have done research by the beginning of their sophomore year through our Richter Scholars Program. So we are an institution that's very heavily committed to both great in-person classroom experiences, but also having these really meaningful and impactful things that you do outside of the classroom, whether that is an internship in the city, a summer opportunity, or you're part of our 40% of our student body that studies abroad during their time at the college. The other piece that really helps Lake Forest stand out is our career services commitment. Like our academic environment, for students who want a more personalized career preparation assistance sort of process, we have double the number of staff in career services for most schools of our size. So finding your person who's going to personally work with you is just really an easy process to go through. You're assigned an advisor from your first day on campus, but you can also have multiple advisors. We also have a unique pathways program that allows students to be aligned with specialists in their program. So for example, our pathway specialist in science and healthcare has a PhD in neuroscience from Northwestern, someone who has really gone through those processes very specifically. The other piece that, of course, I'm going to talk about is making it to Chicago. As I mentioned, we are about 30 miles north of downtown, so we're far enough that it's calm and friendly and safe, but close enough that for students who want to hop on the train and go into the city, there's a ton of access. We really encourage students to go on their own. We actually take every new first-year student on the train into Chicago during orientation, but also we take hundreds of class trips into the city and even offer a fully residential program in the city of Chicago as well. So for students that would like to have a balance of both their residential college experience, but also a more urban career-focused program, they can do that for a semester, a summer, or a full year. So if you want to hear more about In the Loop, we can definitely talk about that. Lastly, I've hinted at it a little bit already, but this is a pretty uniquely diverse institution, especially for a liberal arts college. So as I mentioned earlier, we have students from about 45 states, almost 100 countries, but also it's notable to us that about 35% of our students identify as domestic students of color, about 15% identify as international, and over 1/3 are Pell eligible. So they come from the bottom third of wealth profile in the country. So For students that are concerned about cost, that worry about affordability, we have excellent financial aid resources and are able to really meet students individually where they are. A couple of things to talk about that are kind of exciting and new at Lake Forest, which is always fun to discuss. Number one is our Brown Hall renovation. We're adding about 60,000 square feet of new classroom and academic spaces that'll be finished in the fall of 2021 as part of an $18 million gift given by a generous alum. We've launched 2 new varsity athletic programs. We are Division III, part of the Midwest Conference, and we have launched men's and women's lacrosse that has included a brand new turf field and new locker rooms as well. Most broadly, we're excited about our new health professions program, which is a joint partnership with Wesleyan Franklin University, which is a full services health and medical school about 3 miles from our campus, which includes direct admission for nursing, medical school, and over 10 other health related programs. So very, very exciting. We also launched a new major in data science. So for students that are wanting that smaller environments, that are looking for majors that definitely correlate to the modern labor market, we are really well positioned to serve those students as well. And lastly, just to spend our last minute kind of talking about how you find yourself on Lake Forest in the future. If you're a junior in high school, we do accept the common application and also our own Lake Forest application, both open in July or August, kind of toward the later part of the summer. In terms of materials to submit, we do require a high school transcript. Our average GPA is about a 3.8 on the 4.0 scale, but we of course have students that are above and below those numbers. We are a test optional college. We've been test optional for over 15 years. So whether or not you choose to submit them, we will review your application equally. You can see the numbers on the screen here if you are considering whether you want to submit your test scores or not. But you can also consult that with your college admission officer down the road. And of course, we'd love to see a letter of recommendation as well. And lastly, again, I'm Franklin. I'm an associate director of admissions. I work with our Tennessee students. I'm also a Tennessee native, so you can see my contact info there, and I'd love to hear from you in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We do have some time left, and so we'll pivot now into our Q&A, and I'll ask all our presenters at this time if they can turn on their cameras to unmute themselves, and we'll go ahead and get started with this first question here, which is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? Again, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And we'll go ahead and get started in the same order in which you all presented in.
Yeah, I would just tell anyone, as you're going through, to really stay in touch with your admission counselor. We usually know so many different resources on campus. So if you feel like you don't know where to go, whether it be financial aid, next steps, etc., just stay in touch with us and we'll make the process a little bit easier for you.
My advice, especially coming from an arts college, working, if you have an art teacher you really connect with, or a music teacher, or a mentor you have, working on your portfolio. A lot of students I work with tend to want to submit everything that they've ever created, and really working with someone to really curate your work and show your best work, put your best foot forward with us.
Yeah, mine would be visit as many places as you can. I know COVID put a dent in a lot of your plans, but a lot of colleges are doing it virtually. We're open. Some of the other colleges here are open. So try to visit as many as you can. Try to narrow down your list and then get that feeling, because you'll most likely you'll know once you're on the campus. So that's my recommendation.
I would say make sure that you're exploring all different types of schools. Don't count yourself out, small, medium, large, public, or private. You might surprise yourself when you are, like Tom just said, on campus and checking it out. So I would just encourage you to make sure that you're exploring all the different options and just seeing what is out there and not counting out any options before you look into them.
I'm a big believer in starting things early as you can. So for students who, especially if you're feeling a little bit daunted by this process, it feels a little overwhelming, I think it's a good idea to give yourself plenty of time, and to also, work through things one step at a time, and don't feel that you need to ascend Mount Everest in a day. It can be a process to work through all the various steps.
Awesome, thank you. Always great advice, especially from you all as representatives. It's always helpful during the applying during the college search process, and always really helpful. Our next question is, what is your favorite event or tradition on campus?
Yeah, for us, we have an event every year we call the Big Show. Basically, we turn the campus into one large party and have a lot of fun, team activities, activities for the students, games, and then a big concert to top it all off in the student union.
We have a pretty similar event. Ours is at the end of the school year in May. We call it Manifest. It's an end of the year festival that we put on, usually partakes on Wabash Avenue. Our campus is about a mile long, and it's usually showcasing graduating seniors' work, and it's always a great time.
Yeah, mine is we have a cardboard regatta, boat regatta that we do on our campus lake, where students have to try to make a boat out of cardboard and sail it across, and they race it, and the last one, usually standing, wins. So it's kind of a cool thing we do.
My favorite campus tradition that we do at Millikin in December, when it's getting close to finals and students are winding down for the semester, we actually have something that we call cookie party. So all of the professors and then the employees on campus donate cookies that they've baked or bought. And we just have a big cookie party where students are able to come and connect before we all head home for the holidays, and to be able to take a moment to relax before heading into finals week. So that's just a cool time to bring the campus together and have a moment to connect before we all head out.
At Lake Forest, we just have a really great old school homecoming. We have like 10,000 alumni that come back. It's a giant party weekend. They close the streets for a parade. It is just like the most sort of community together weekend you could possibly think. And alumni from the 50s to 3 years ago come back, and it's a really special event.
Awesome. I love hearing about just the different favorite events and traditions on campus. I think that's what makes each school really unique. And so thank you all for sharing. Our next question is: give an interesting or fun fact about your school.
Yeah, one thing that's real fun and interesting for us is that we do have a little geothermal hot spring spot. A lot of students will come to the grate when it gets a little cold up towards our campus and hang out around that during the winter, so it keeps them warm and a really cool little hangout spot.
My interesting thing is we recently started a new degree program called Comedy Writing and Performance. At some point during your career here, you do get to enroll at a Second City, which is a very well-known improv school here in Chicago. And one of our alums, first graduates of that program, was someone you might know called Adie Bryant. She's now on SNL. Never met her, but I'm sure she's lovely.
Yeah, one cool thing about SIU and Carbondale is that in 2017 we were in the path of the solar eclipse, and we're actually going to be in the path again in 2024. So it was a big thing. NASA is stationed here, so they're doing some research about it over here. So it's one of the few places in the country where it happened twice. It's going to happen twice in a row. So if you come to SIU, you'll get to see it for sure. So.
An interesting fact, more about Decatur, where Millikin is located, rather than our actual campus, but we are actually the original home for the Chicago Bears, which is kind of fun. That's where the Bears started, so they come down for events sometimes too. So that's a fun fact just about where we're located.
I too have Chicago Bears trivia for any sports fans that are here. So the Bears held training camp at Lake Forest College for about 25 years, including the infamous 85 Super Bowl Shuffle Bears. There's all kinds of Bears history around. And the Bears training camp is actually, like, facilities are actually in Lake Forest. So the Bears are actually over on campus and are present all the time, which is just kind of cool.
Awesome. Fun facts, especially and interesting facts, which is always great, especially for, as you mentioned earlier, for those sport fans. So I do have another question. You guys didn't really have a lot of time to prepare, but that's okay, because I know you guys will be fine. But I think this is a really common question that a lot of students do ask or think about is, what is the number one question that you receive from students going through the college search process? Again, what is the number one question that you receive from students going through the college search process?
I think for me, especially being a private school, first thing is definitely going to be cost. I mean, that's always going to be the number one. And if it's not, it's definitely going to be the parents. So whoever's fronting the bill. So that's why I always tell everybody, if you're worried about cost, compare schools, compare the value of educations with those schools, and then see the process through. Sometimes you'd be completely just so surprised on what colleges can do to help on that regard, for sure.
I think a very common question I get is how much does GPA play into the application review process? At least at Columbia, we are looking at the trajectory of your grades across all 4 years. We're looking at test scores. Should you provide them? A writing sample, essay, recommendation. So we're looking at literally every single piece of information that you provide to us to make a decision based on your application.
Yeah, I have to agree with Andrew there. That's probably the question I get is how much is college going to cost? How am I going to afford this? And I recommend filling out the FAFSA as soon as that opens up. That'll open you up to a lot of different grants and different opportunities. And then try to get your GPA up your last. You don't take your senior year off. Don't get senioritis, as I like to call it. Make sure you do your work, get the GPA up, and then that'll help give you open up a lot of doors for you.
I was definitely thinking cost too, but even further than that, if we accept any outside scholarships too, I think sometimes students forget about that as an avenue for helping to fund their education. So while, each of the schools can provide scholarships as well, many places will accept outside scholarships, whether that's through like your guidance counselor, your college and career counselor at school, or maybe one of your parents' employers, maybe a different group that you're involved in, like extracurriculars. So be looking for those scholarship opportunities everywhere, because they'll surprise you, and every little bit helps when you are talking about the total cost for college.
In an effort to be unique, although I have heard all these questions that my colleagues on this call have mentioned before, I'm often asked, especially in more of a college fair setting, what makes your school unique? What makes your school stand out? And I think about this because students have more options than they've ever had before. I think there's more marketing sent to them. There's more sort of institutions that are interested in enrolling them in the future. So I imagine from the student perspective, it can be quite daunting with the number of places they can go, whether they want to stay local or they're looking to go, geographically, they have kind of a wider breadth that they're considering. So I always, think that it's an opportunity to be really kind of honest and upfront with the student. And I think a lot of my peers would say the same thing of sort of what makes a student want to come to a place like Lake Forest or other institutions here. So kind of that uniqueness piece. I talk about that quite a bit.
Thank you all. I think you guys raised some really great points, and it's always great to kind of hear what those common questions are and help dismantle any myths out there, anything as students are thinking and choosing and deciding. All of those factors come into play. So thank you all for the wonderful information you shared tonight. And thank you to each of you for joining us. We have reached the conclusion of this session, but before we close, there will be a very quick 4-question survey that will appear on your browser. If you don't mind taking a moment to fill that out for us, we would really greatly appreciate it. There are more sessions happening, so feel free to sign up for more sessions where you registered for this one. And lastly, this session is being recorded, and all sessions are being recorded and will be available a week from today at strivescan.com/Tennessee. Again, thank you all. Thank you to our presenters. What a great Q&A it was. And I hope you all have a great night.